Hello, everybody. Greetings. Welcome back to the channel. I'm so happy to see you guys today. I'm happy to discuss a very juicy topic that I have for us today, which is determining your desires. We're going to talk about how to be more specific with our desires and our manifestations so that we could actually bring them towards us and bring them towards us a lot more quicker. So, if you have not already done so, please go ahead and like this video. You like this information, right? Go ahead and like that video. Please share it, y'all. Each one teach one. Sharing is caring. If you are going through this video and this video just reminds you, your mind runs on somebody, share the video with them. Maybe something I say may have been something that a close friend is thinking about, or you guys were discussing it briefly or something like that, or randomly. Go ahead and share that video. You just never know. That's how energy works. Maybe it wasn't meant for you to get something out of this video today, but maybe it was meant for you to see this video so that you could drop a gem for a close friend or a close family member so that they can do what they need to do with it. You see how that worked like that? But yes. Go ahead and like the video, share, comments. Please leave comments so that I could talk back and we can converse back and forth, guys. I love that kind of thing. Ask me questions. You could tell me your experiences. Comment on whatever you have to say about what's going on in the video. I appreciate it and I will comment back as soon as I see it. If you are not already subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe and make sure to turn on the post notification bells because I don't want to hear nobody saying, what you talking about in this video? Oh, so you missed the last video because you didn't have your post notification bell turned on. I see. So yeah, guys, now that we're done with all of that stuff, let's go ahead and get into today's topic. So today is going to be determining your desires and defining your desires. That's what we're going to focus on, making our goals or our desires definite. So, what do I mean by that? When I say clearly define your goal or clearly define an aim at life right now, that means what do you want to do? How are you going to do it? How are you going to get to it? We need some specifics because a goal could just be, and I've mentioned this before, a goal could just be, I'm going to go on a trip. I want to go on a trip this year. I don't care where I'm going. I just know I want to go on a trip. Be careful with that because wording is very crucial when it comes to manifesting. You guys, have you ever heard that saying, truth and death lies within the tongue? So be careful when you speak things because sometimes when you speak things, it's almost as if you seal them like a spell and you send it out to the universe and the universe brings it back to you, but it may not be how you thought the universe was going to bring it back to you because you were not specific enough. So, for example, let's say I said, I want to go on a trip. I don't care how it happens. I just know I want to travel and I want to get out of the country. Guess what happened? A family member will pass away and I'm Jamaican. So let's say a family member of mine's passed away in Jamaica and now I have to go back to Jamaica so that I can attend the funeral services. I said I wanted to get out of the country, universe, but I ain't saying I ain't want nobody to die, go to no funeral. You see what I'm saying? That's the importance of clearly defining your goals. You want to state what it is you want, how are you going to get there. You want to put those two in there for sure so that you can kind of give frequency direction. Be more specific so you can get exactly what it is that you want. Okay. So what is it? What is it that you want? That's the next question. What do you want? Like seriously, if I were to sit here and we were talking one on one and I say, "Okay, so friend, what do you want?" What would you tell me? Do you know? Do you have any idea? And I want to hear the real. Don't tell me about what your parents want for you. Don't tell me about, well, everybody thinks that I would make a great such and such, so I think I'm going to follow up on that. No, I don't want to hear that. Tell me what it is that you want to do because that's how you're going to have the most peace, the most bliss, the most fun and excitement, and make the most money in life. You have to be doing something that you enjoy. You understand? So, what do you want? And not what you're conditioned to want either. I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear what you're conditioned to want, what you see, like, okay, doctors, lawyers, these uppity type of positions. No, we don't want that. I need you to sit down with yourself and think about things that you like to do. Think about your hobbies and think about your interests and think about ways that you can make money from them. That's where you need to start at. What is something that truly interests you that no matter how much you do it, you'll never get bored? It'll always feel like fun. It won't feel like, a task. It won't feel like work. That's the goal. You want to get into a position that does not feel like work, even though you're gonna have to do some kind of work. I mean, you could get to the position where to the status where you actually hire somebody else to start running your stuff, like a business manager or something like that, or if you're planning something like a project manager. Yeah, you get to that point, then you won't have to do much work. But you still have to do some kind of work because somebody has to hire the business manager. You know what I'm saying? You have to do a little bit of something. So, yeah, clearly define what it is that you want to do, right? If you don't know or you're not sure, or maybe you have a couple of ideas and you're just not too sure which one to choose between, here's the exercise. And I want you guys to do this right now. So, after I give you these directions, pause the video, do the exercise so you can get some understanding for yourself, or write these directions down really good so that when the video is over with and you're self to self, me to me, you can go ahead and do the exercise honestly. Remember to be honest and super transparent with self because it's just self and nobody else is there. And this is how it's going to go. Get you a piece of paper and get you a pen or something to write with, something to write on, right? And if money is not a problem, if money was not the issue, what would you want to do? So when I say when money is not the issue, I mean if you don't have to worry about having money to go to school, if it's something to go to school for, or if you didn't have to worry about paying for your lifestyle right now, you don't have to work and go to school or work and whatever, work towards your goal. If you don't have to do none of that and your life was just carefree, your lifestyle paid for itself, what would you want to do? Give me 10 things. So write down 10 things. If money was not an issue, what would I want to do? Okay. Once you have your 10 things written down, the next step that you want to say is, okay, now that I have my 10 things, we need to number them. We need to prioritize them. So from 1 to 10, 1 being the lowest, 10 being the highest, which one would I want to do more? Be honest. And I know this part is going to get a little tricky, especially when you get down to like the fives and the fours and the threes and they start blending. You be like, ooh, I don't know. Be honest with yourself because this is going to be a great help to you. And then once you number them, now you clearly, you have it right here in on paper. You've written it out. Top three things. Take the top three things that you put on that list, right? Out of those top three things that you wrote down on the list that you chose to do, so that's number 10, number 9, and number 8. Well, yeah, number 10, number 9, number 8. From those, I want you to be honest and on a scale from 1 to 3, which one do you think you can achieve the most? Once you get done with that, that should give you some kind of direction now. So take your time. There's no need to rush through it. Really think about things. Really like sit there and, before you get to writing, you may just have to sit down and do some breathing to get some oxygen to the brain and relax because relaxation is what brings out the answers. That's why people meditate. When you put your body and your mind in a state of relaxation, that's when answers are able to kind of flow to you. So that'll give you a good direction and a good sense of what it is that you want to do. Okay. Now, when it comes to getting to that goal or getting to that aim or getting to that desire, there is a couple of things that you can do to get there a lot quicker. The first one that we're going to talk about is working backwards. All right. So, you know how first you have steps. First, I have to figure out what I want to do. Now, I have to make a business plan. Now, I have to reach out to these vendors and actually put some action to the business plan, right? Now I'm at my goal and I finally achieved my goal. I'm happy. When we work backwards, we're going to start with that end goal because we already know what the end goal is. We know what we want. We know our desires now, right? We know what kind of life we want to live, how we want to be feeling, how we want to be looking, whatever it is that you want to achieve right now. Because remember, we're talking about um, character development and leveling up ourselves and self improvement and self mastery. So, whatever your goal is right now, work backwards. So, we're going to start with the end goal. And when you start with the end goal, there's two things that I want you to do from here. These are going to be a couple of more exercises. Please don't be lazy, y'all. Do the exercises. You are going to get the maximum benefits up out of it. Trust me. Because what this is doing, if you haven't already thought about these things, it's going to plant a seed inside your brain. And that seed is only going to get bigger and bigger and bigger the more you continue to think about said chief aim or said goal. Okay? So, when we start from the end, the first thing that I'm going to talk about is scripting. Scripting is when you are going to literally take a piece of paper and pen and you're going to write out exactly how you see everything going. So, we're going to start at the end. So, I went on a trip, remember? So, this is how I would start mine. I'm having such, remember to write in present tense. That's how you're going to manifest. You don't write in past tense because it has not happened yet. You write in present tense because you want to be in the vibration of gratitude. So when you write in the present tense, I'm grateful for what I have right now. If you write out I want to have in the future, that's hopeful. That's hope. That's wishful thinking. We don't need hope and wishful thinking. We need gratitude so we can actualize it. So I'm going to script it out. I am having such an amazing time in New Orleans. I decided to come on my trip May 20th, 2005, and I had an amazing first class experience with Delta. They did X, Y, and Z, and they gave me all these extras. And I had such an amazing time. The flight was very smooth. It was very quick to get all of my baggage. I, I landed in New Orleans. My driver was already waiting for me to take me to my room. It was perfect. I didn't have to do any kind of waiting. I got to my room and got in and got out. My room is gorgeous. It's amazing. The views are to die for. They are phenomenal. The rooftop, oh my God. And I have a balcony and a whole private pool for myself. OMG. On the trip, I met yada yada, this. I ended up at this event. You are literally going to script out what it is that you want, however you see it, however you want to feel. That's really where you want to focus on. You definitely want to focus on, I had such an amazing time. The views are phenomenal. Oh my God, I feel amazing. You want to focus on those feelings because you're going to magnetize more experiences into your life that will give you those same feelings. Your feelings are very important and they are the fundamental pieces to manifesting. Remember, I told you that because we're going to touch on this topic in another video. So that's scripting. That right there, what scripting does, scripting almost writes your story for you. You'll be so surprised just how close and almost damn near perfect and accurate your experience will be when you write it down. There's something magical that happens when you put pen to paper. Remember, everything starts with a thought in the mind. When you take that thought and now you're writing that thought, so you have to think about it physically. It comes, the thought is in my brain and it's coming from my head, right? So it's moving through all these different, what is it? Move through, Lord, y'all don't quote me, dendrites, neurons. I don't know. But they moving through all these different places. And now we have the textile because we're actually writing it out. So my brain is thinking and working. My hand is actually writing what my brain is saying. There's some type of, I don't know what that is right here in the ether right here, that dark energy right there that's going on between the brain and the writing, but it's some type of magic that goes on and it literally brings it right to you. And if it doesn't bring you exactly what you wrote out and scripted, damn near you get almost exactly what you wrote out and scripted. Scripting is very thorough, it is very precise, it is very definite, and it is very defined. Scripting is a great way to define whatever purpose you have, whatever goal you have, or whatever aim you have. Scripting is a great way to do that. So make sure y'all write that down. When you do scripting plays with a few of the laws of the universe. And if you guys have not studied the laws of the universe, I highly suggest that you study. There are quite a few laws: law of manifestation, well, law of attraction, which people usually know, the law of lift, which allows planes to fly in the sky, the law of gravity, which allows us to walk around and not float around. You have the law of transmutation. You also have the I can keep going on and on and on and on, okay? You have quite a few laws. One of the laws that scripting is going to help you touch on is the law of cause and effect. Everything has a cause and everything has an effect. With scripting, you start with the effect. You're working backwards. That's what I was telling you. So with scripting, you start with the effect. No matter which way it goes, everything has a cause and effect. Every cause has an effect. Every effect has a cause. You see what I'm saying? So when you start backwards, that effect has to have a cause. It has to actualize. And as you're writing in present tense, I have this, I am this, I love this. That gratitude, that excitement that you're writing in is going to cause the cause to actualize in real life. So it'll get things moving for you before you even know how to get things moving, in a sense. That's the magic. Right? So yeah, guys, you definitely want to work backwards when it comes to defining your goals and really pinpointing exactly what it is that you want and exactly how you want it, so you could bring it closer to you at a quicker speed. So when you are when you're scripting, a few things that you want to make sure that you talk about and you clearly write out is, where do you well, it depends on what you're scripting for this question. Where do you want to be in 10 years? So if you are scripting for your life, to plan your life out, like life goals, where do you want to be in 10 years? What person do you want to be? How is your personality going to be? How is your mentality going to be? What kind of job are you going to be working? What's going to be your state of finances? How's your family life looking? What kind of lifestyle are you living? Are you an active type of person? All of those little details, stuff like that, put all of it into scripting. When you journal stuff out and when you're scripting, when you're writing, you want to be as detailed as possible as you can, as long as you know exactly what you want. Because if you don't know what you want, then you probably wouldn't be able to be as detailed. So make sure you know what you want and clearly write it out in details. That's how you're going to be defining your goals. That's how you make your goals definite. That's how you manifest your goals into your life. You be very specific with it. If you're too broad, some things you can be broad on, other things you can't. You have to be specific on it so you can bring it to fruition. And also keep in mind, one of the great things about life is life be lifing. You know what I'm saying? So things are going to come up along the way. We already know this because it happens on an everyday basis. When those things begin to come up along the way, they kind of allow you to be a little bit more defined. Because if something comes up and it kind of stops you in your tracks of what you're doing, maybe it'll get you thinking about something differently. Maybe you're manifesting a certain type of job, right? Say you're manifesting a job in a healthcare. How about that? You're manifesting, I don't care what I do, but I want to work in a hospital, right? And let's say something happened, or you go to the hospital to go visit somebody and you have one of the most worst experiences you've ever had, and you say, hell no, I don't want to work in the medical field. This is not for me. You have now defined your goal even more. You may feel like it's a step back because now I'm back to square one. I don't really know what I want to do. However, the more you don't know is the closer you get to what you do know. Because when you know what you don't want, it makes it a lot easier to clearly define what you do want. So it's going to be helping you indirectly when those random things just pop up and happen in life. Or it could be something the opposite. It could be something to confirm that you're on the right path. You could say, okay, this is what I want to do here. And then maybe like a month later or so, something pops up in your life that is the same thing, or somebody close to you is doing the same thing, or you get to meet a professional in the same industry as what you want to go in, and you get to see how their life is and how their lifestyle is. And now you're even more amped up, you're even more excited. And remember what I told you, those emotions that you put into it, those emotions, it's what's going to bring you closer to your desires and closer to your goals. So that's definitely going to help out, guys. Because you know what? I also want to say this. When you clearly define your goal, right? Once you know exactly what it is that you want to do and you've written it out, right? Begin being that person immediately. Start immediately. Even if you may not know exactly how to do everything or what to do, where to go, start being the person who you aspire to be. Because what's happening is you are, in a sense, manipulating energy. And there's that word again. A lot of people don't like to say it that way, but that's exactly what's going on. You're manipulating frequency because you're telling the universe, this is who I am right now. So I want more of this. So let's say, you know, well, hell, I could use my real self to give you this example. When I was younger, like a very young girl, and I would imagine my life, I always said, I can't wait to be older. I'm going to have a really good job that pays me well so that I can support myself. And I'm going to drive a real nice, fancy, luxury car and live in a nice neighborhood with nothing but nice cars passing by and perfect landscaped grass and nice and friendly neighbors and people outside walking around. This is what I wanted. People outside walking around, jogging. And when it came to my physical appearance, I would say, and I can't wait to be so beautiful. And I can just see myself with long, flowy hair. Y'all, when I used to draw this out, my hair was always long. I always had a little baby with a little carrier, right? Long, flowy hair and wearing the nicest threads, and my earrings match this, and my shoes match my purse. And I just feel so good. Now, the one thing that I always said I wanted that I haven't got yet, I always said I wanted big breasts. I always saw myself with big old breasts. But y'all, I'm a good B cup right now, okay? And that's being a little generous because I probably could still fit into a AAA. But that was the one thing that I didn't get right now. But that's what I was saying. You have to be specific. You see how specific I was about, I want to live in this neighborhood, drive this car, work this kind of job, look like this. I literally got every single thing that I've manifested. Seriously. What I was thinking about back then when I was a little girl, and I still remember, I was in my daycare's car. I used to go to daycare and they used to pick us up in a van. And we were in the van. I still remember the street we were on and all. And we were driving down and I was watching the older girls walk by and I was just thinking about myself and manifesting my life, right? And manifesting exactly the neighborhood and the sights and the smells and the sounds and the people. And I got that. But now this is the part where I told you need to make sure you're being very specific. I wasn't too specific on how I was going to get these big breasts. I never said, yeah, and as I get older and I mature, I grow into my body and I get these big breasts and these nice hips and blah blah blah. I didn't say that. All I said was I want to have nice big breasts. So God could have gave me them big breasts in one or two ways. First off, I didn't say how big. Second, once upon a time, I weighed more than I weigh now. I weigh about 155 pounds now. I used to weigh 212, so my breasts were a C cup. So I never said how big. So the C could have been how big I'm going to get. Who knows? But that's through gaining weight. I didn't want to gain all of that weight. That's why you got to be specific. Or the universe could have gave it to me, or still maybe giving me my big breasts once I have children. But I never said it. I never said, oh, yeah, I'm gonna have babies and I'm gonna have big titties, or I was never specific enough. I didn't define that part enough. You see what I'm saying? So what I did in a sense was I manipulated the frequency because when I was saying it, I kept saying, I I see myself driving this, and I'll have this type of car, and I'll have this type of house, and I'll be in this neighborhood. Even from back then, I didn't even know what I was doing, and I was doing it. I don't think I said I won and I wish, and I didn't never said like I wish and stuff like that. It was always I'll have this and I have that, and thank you, thank you for this. And I manipulated energy because I was telling the universe that I had this right now. Thank you for giving me this what I have right now, and it literally actualized. It literally came to fruition in real life. And that's the thing. And this was a dream that I had, what, over a decade ago, because I'm 30 now. And when I was having these dreams, I had to be like 10, 11, something like that. So over a decade ago. And it's here now. And I've been living through it and living it. Something that I may have manifested 2 weeks ago, I may not get it right now, but I may get it 2 months from now. Who knows? And I'm also that's what I'm gonna touch on. I'm gonna tell you how to bring it to you even faster. We're gonna talk about that in just a second. So y'all, the difference now between how do I say this? The difference between these two types of manifestation is when you say I want and I wish, that's hope, like I said before, and that's wishful thinking. When you say I have, thank you for this. I love this about my life. That's being in the present and the now, and that's being grateful. And gratitude, if not, is the strongest. It's one of the strongest emotions that you can use to bring your desires to you even quicker. Gratitude. So I'm just saying, y'all. All right, y'all. So let's get into the second part of this video, which is going to be um, how to clearly define your goals, which we've kind of hit on that already, but we're going to talk about that a little bit more. How to clearly define our goals. So there's a book, and many people have heard about this book. Many people know this man. He's a very famous man, Napoleon Hill. I've brought him up before. I will always continue to bring him up. I love him dearly. If he was still here, he definitely would be one of my mentors if I can get my hands on him. Napoleon Hill created the book The Law of Success in 15 lessons. And I've talked about this before in a previous video. And the man has a whole chapter that is dedicated to, he calls it chief aim. That's what he calls it, a definite chief aim. It's actually lesson one of 15. So that goes to tell you just how important and imperial that is to getting exactly what it is that you want in life and to improving your life. That's Duchess, everybody, and into leveling up. All right, y'all. We're just going to touch on a couple of things in here. See what this man is talking about, because y'all know I like to come on here and give y'all some facts, give y'all something to go research. You know what I'm saying? Okay, here we go. So this, according to Hill, a person's acts are always in harmony with the dominating thoughts of his or her mind. Okay, we know this. So, the thoughts that we have in our mind is usually how we carry out ourselves. Whatever we're thinking is usually how we exude. That energy exudes from us. So, he says, any definite chief aim that is deliberately fixed in the mind and held there with the determination to realize it finally saturates the entire subconscious mind until it automatically influences the physical action of the body towards the attainment of that purpose. And I know that sounds like a lot of mumbo jumbo, especially if that's your first time hearing this, and especially if you're not familiar with some of the words that he's using in this statement here. But we're going to translate this. So he says, any definite goal that you have in your mind that is there and you keep it in your mind, that means you keep thinking about it, you keep revisiting that thought over and over again, and you have a burning desire to actually achieve it. You want it so bad. So any goal that you have that's in your mind that you think about all the time, excuse me, and you want it so bad, it will finally seep into your subconscious so deep that it will automatically influence stuff in your physical world to start moving to bring you closer to that goal. That is exactly what he's saying. Then he goes to say, your definite chief aim in life should be selected with deliberate care. And even after it has been selected, it should be written out. What I told you, it should be written out and placed where you will see it. Okay? So, figure out what you want, define your goal or your chief aim according to Napoleon Hill. Write it out once you define it. So get you some flashcards, write it out on the flashcards, and put that flashcard somewhere where you're going to see it every single day. Make multiple flashcards with the same information up and put it in different areas of your house. I have my bedroom. I put it on my wall where I wake up every morning and I see it. I have it in my bathroom mirror. I have it out here in my living room on one of my walls going to my patio door so I see it every day. And I have it on my kitchen cabinet where I keep my seasonings because I know I go there every day. So you want to put your goals somewhere where you're going to see it every day. Why? Basically, you're affirming. You're making affirmations. Another word for affirmations is auto suggestion or self suggestion, but it means the same thing. It's affirmations. And if you know anything about the psychological movements behind affirmation, basically, you're forcing information into your mind. You're forcing yourself to believe some kind of information by saying it over and over, by using repetition, not just repetition, because first it started as a thought, then you actually wrote it out, then you want to say it aloud. So by doing those um, different exercises, thinking, writing, talking. By doing all three of those different things, that's how you begin to affirm certain things in your life. And the more you repeat it over and over, it seeps down into your subconscious. Why is it important to go into your subconscious? Because even when you are not deliberately or consciously thinking about it, your mind is still thinking about it because it lives in your subconscious now. That means while you're sleeping and you're not up to actually think about it, it's still in there working and bringing whatever desire that is closer towards you because your mind is set in your mind. Remember what we just read. He said any type of goal that you have that's in your mind, that's fixed in your mind, that means you keep going back to it in your mind over and over and over again. It has to come to you. That's exactly what he's saying here. So let me read this part now. The principle of psychology through which you can express your definite chief aim upon your subconscious mind is called autosuggestion. So he's saying this is called affirmations, which you repeatedly make to yourself. It is a degree of self hypnotism. Ain't that something? You're almost hypnotizing. Well, not almost, you are hypnotizing yourself in a sense. So now imagine after hearing this information, imagine now about how other things in this world has hypnotized you, such as music. When you hear certain verses, certain songs that are catchy, and you hear it over and over, and you say it over and over and over again until it becomes into your subconscious. And when it becomes inside of your subconscious, now your mind thinks that it is true. So now your body thinks that it is true. Imagine how many things that have been forced on you that you think is true now through autosuggestion, such as religion. I ain't gonna take it there though, because that's one of the topics I don't like to get on religion. I don't really like to get on politics because everybody has their own opinions and everybody's opinions is just and you have every right to think how you want to think and believe whatever it is that you want to believe. But I'm just saying. Mm. All right, y'all. The book also says be sure that your definite purpose is constructive, that its attainment will bring hardship and misery to no one, that it will bring you peace and prosperity. Then apply to the limit of your understanding the principle of self suggestion for the speedy attainment of this purpose. Y'all need me to read that again? He said, make sure that your goal is constructive. So make sure that it's something for the good. Make sure it does not harm others either, and make sure it brings you peace and prosperity. What's prosperity? The longevity of it. Okay? Then he says, once you check off them 3 boxes, now do some affirmations and it's going to bring it to you like that. That's literally what that says. Because, sometimes when I say things, if you're not already privy to some information, it will go right over your head. And you would think I'm just talking hot air right now and just saying things just to say it. I like to have the backup to where you guys can hear somebody else, somebody who is more wise than I am, who's made more money than I have, who's done this over and over and has taught over hundreds and thousands of people this same information and they had success. I want y'all to hear from the GOAT. I want y'all to hear from the horse himself. Okay. Here's one more. The subconscious mind may be likened to a magnet, and when it has been vitalized and thoroughly saturated with any definite purpose, it has a decided tendency to attract all that is necessary for the fulfillment of the purpose. So it says your mind is like a magnet. Y'all need to write some of this down. This is good. Your mind is like a magnet. When it has been vitalized, what is vitalized? Vitalized means vital. That means for life, brings life. So when your mind has been revitalized, you put some good stuff in it, right? And it's thoroughly saturated with your goal. So when your mind is a magnet, and when your goal is constantly inside of your mind, it attracts everything that is needed. It attracts everything and everyone that is needed to fulfill that goal. That's what he's saying right here. Nothing within reason is beyond the possibility of attainment by the man whose definite chief aim has been well developed. Nothing is beyond possibility for somebody who has a developed goal. Once you define your goal, nothing is impossible. Anything can come to you, but you must define your goal first. I think I have a couple more for us, and then we should be good. See what we got here. No undesirable environment is strong enough to hold the man or the woman who understands how to apply the principle of autosuggestion in the creation of a definite chief aim. Basically, once you learn how to apply affirmations to your goal, nothing can stop you. Nothing. Nothing or no one, no entity, no nothing. Because everything is a vibration and everything is a frequency. And you can't stop that. Well, you can with your own brain, but no one else or nothing else can't. All right, y'all, what is this? Okay, here we go. So he's explaining how to apply the principles of this lesson. So, how to clearly define your goal. This is by Napoleon Hill. This is the last one. He says your first step is to decide what your major aim in life should be. So, first, decide your goal. Your next step is to write out a clear, concise statement of this aim. This is where you're going to define your goal and you're going to write it out. Remember on the affirmation card. This should be followed by a statement in writing of the plan or plans which you intend to attain the object of your aim. So it's saying, figure out your goal. You're going to write your goal down, your defined goal down. Right after you write your defined goal, you're then next going to write out how you are going to get to that defined goal. And then the last step, your next and final step will be the forming of an alliance with some person or persons who will cooperate with you in carrying out these plans and transforming your definite chief aim into reality. So, step 3 is not for you to worry about. And this step 3 is actually going to be in a separate video where we'll be discussing the mechanics of law of attraction and how to manifest. Everything starts in the mind. That's why in our previous video, everything is mental. It starts there. So step 1 and step 2 is the mental part, deciding what deciding what your goal is, then defining your goal and actually writing it out, and then writing out the steps that you're going to take to get to that goal. That's all you have to write. That's it, right? This is what he was saying. Once you have that goal inside your mind and it's fixed in your mind, and you revisit that goal over and over and over. So frequency, you visit that goal frequently inside of your brain, right? It's there. You planted the seed. Now you've written down your affirmations. Now you start affirming. You remember what we read about affirmations. Once you start affirming, mountains will move for you to attract what it is that you need. Remember, your mind is like a magnet. You have to understand right here is very powerful. The mind is a terrible thing to waste because your mind is like a magnet. Once you clearly define your goal inside of your mind magnet, it will automatically attract the things and the people that are necessary to bring your goal to life. Okay, so frequency, the amount of times you think about your goal inside of your brain, and you also want to mix it with some intensity. So that's going to be those emotions and those feelings. So every time you think about your goal, you want to smile, you want to get excited, you want to feel anticipating because you know it's coming. And let me give you a tip. If you're doing this properly, you know you're doing this properly when you start to literally feel. You will start to feel cold. You will start to feel like you have goosebumps. That's spirit, baby. Okay? So that's how you know when you're doing it right. So frequency plus those emotions, which is our intensity, that's going to actualize our goal and bring us to whatever it is that you want. Now, the book goes on and on and on, gives so much details, gives so many different examples. The chapter is about 20 to 25 pages, so you can imagine how in-depth Napoleon Hill goes into defining your chief aim according to him. So I highly suggest that y'all get this book and y'all read up on this book. I highly suggest it because it is going to help you 110% for sure. There is nothing in that book that would steer you wrong at all. And it's not hard to read. It's a very easy to read, simple terms type book. There's some parts in there where it's like, you just got to slow down, reread it, get you a dictionary out, and get that learning. And remember what I said. Sometimes when you learn information for the first time, it's almost like you're planting a seed. The next time when you hear that same information, it won't seem as foreign. I promise you. Because you already have a seed that's within your mind. And especially if you think about some of the things that you've learned, you think about that same seed like we've been discussing. If you continue to think about that same seed, it will grow. So the next time you revisit this topic, it will hit a lot different. You will pinpoint certain things that didn't stand out to you before. So it's also important to reread books like this one. I'm definitely going to have to reread The Law of Success again because every single time you read it, you're at different points in your life. Something else is going to hit different. Something else is going to stand out. Something else is going to resonate. Something else you're going to desire. You're going to want. That's going to also define your goals. That's what I mean by life. When things come up and pop up, they help us define our goals. So life is going to help you define your goal naturally. But you do have to figure out the starting point first because you can't get nowhere if you don't know where you're going. Period. Can't use a GPS without putting in the destination first. Oh, guys, remember when we were talking about working backwards? What a great analogy. It's like using a GPS. Using a GPS is working backwards. You put in your end goal first, and then it gives you all the steps that you need to do automatically. Same thing with your brain. Feed it that end goal first, and it will automatically start giving you all of the steps that you need to fill in the spaces. Okay? All right, y'all. I don't want to make this video too long, but I enjoyed today's discussion. I hope you guys do too. Please remember to like and comment. Leave me some comments so that I can, correspond back with you guys and we can get a little mastermind type thing going on. If y'all know about mastermind and what mastermind is, I think that's gonna be one of our topics. I'm gonna go ahead and put that in the good book. We're gonna definitely have to touch on mastermind. So we'll be coming back to Mr. Napoleon Hill for sure because he definitely touches on mastermind. But yeah, that's a goal for us to create our own mastermind. The more time that we get to spend and experience together, if you know what I mean. So yes, baby, if you like today's content, if you liked today's video, please let me know. If you want some more of this, if you want me to break it down even more, go into more specifics on any specific area, just let me know and I'll be more than happy to do that. Go ahead and like that video if you like today's comments, share, subscribe, turn on your post notification bell so you know when this face and this voice and this mind, more importantly, is coming back on the screen again to give y'all some information. Okay?